Welcome everyone to the PvP tips lecture series. Today we're going to talk about team building. So I'm glad that everyone's here. Chat is very lively tonight. So let's get started. Yeah. Okay. So the topics for today is understanding the meta, team building, picking leads, and back coverage for your team. Okay. Although there's a PSA, and I want like a lot of the new trainers and battlers, girls at PvP, like I want you to understand that you should always be comfortable with what you're using, right? You're going to get a lot of suggestions from people in your community. You're going to get a lot of suggestions from YouTubers, people who are streaming on Twitch, all these advanced battlers. And the thing is, sometimes the teams will work for you, other times it won't, right? And it's really just how comfortable you are using the teams. Okay, so once you build a team, make sure you practice with it and know its strengths and weaknesses inside and out. Okay, this is like the most important tip that I can give you, and yeah, so be sure that you're comfortable with your team before you use them. Okay. So there's a lot of different simplified guides. The Sylph Arena has had a different theme cup every month, right? And each one has all of its strengths and weaknesses, right? You have like a lot of matchups, like these rock paper scissors type matchups. What's good against what? What's going to be weak against what? And you'll see that a lot of them are going to be like these maps of like who beats who, right? Even in the Great League, it's going to be the same thing. Ultra League, you're going to see that same thing. And the thing is, you want to understand the different metas and the different matchups that's happening, right? And it changes constantly. So, for example, you have to understand this rock, paper, scissors type matchup, right? Like Charizard is going to beat Venusaur. Venusaur is going to beat Blastoise, and Blastoise is going to beat Charizard. But there's actually a lot of intricacies that happens in like an open Great League or even an open Ultra League, right? It's not always cutthroat rock, paper, scissors. There's always going to be like these blends of like which Pokemon are going to be soft counters, right? Which Pokemons are going to be hard counters. And you just have to understand that there's like the smaller ring of rock, paper, scissors that's happening within the meta. And you can like move back and forth between all of this, right? And understanding this can provide you with like a great perspective of how to build your team. Okay, so soft counters versus hard counters. These are two things that I'll be talking about a lot in like this video, as well as you're going to hear a lot from content creators, right? Others like strong PvP people. And the thing is, hard counters will beat the opposing Pokemon like outright. You can either beat it without shields, you can beat it with shields. Soft counters, okay, can beat the opposing Pokemon depending on situations, whether it has like more energy, right? It can beat it like on a switch in. It can beat it using more shields than your opponent can use shields. It can beat it with different types of move sets. Yeah, so it 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 changes the matchup like very drastically between soft counters and hard counters. So when you're building your team, you have to understand what is a soft counter to your opponent as well as what is going to be a hard counter. Okay. So for example, let's say we have this your opponent will have a balanced line and you will have a balanced line, right? You have you know, what is it? Blue beats red, red beats blue, and green beats blue. Okay, I've taken this from Hero Vange, so credit to him for having this great simple idea. And so we're going to explain this simple idea. So for example, let's say you lead a red and your opponent leads blue, right? Okay, so what happens here? You know that you're going to lose and you're going to switch out, right? So when you switch out, you're going to bring in, well, what's your only counter to a blue? It'd be green, right? Because you know that green is going to beat blue. But now your opponent gets to counter switch, right? We talked about this last time, yeah? And you're going to have locked in for 1 minute, your opponent counter switches, and then they're going to counter switch to something that will definitely beat out your green, yeah? And now you're in this situation where, oh my god, my green is going to die, and I'm going to bring in my blue, and then it's going to kill his red, and then he's going to bring in his green, and then my blue's going to die, and then I'm going to bring in my red, and then his green is going to die, right? It's like a rock, paper, scissors type match. And this is one of the things that you sort of don't want to be in, but it's hard to like avoid if you're going in matches blind, right? And so, you know, for a balanced team, the pro is you cover the meta very well, yeah? Like you have answers to a lot of things. But the con is it's very lead dependent. If you can get the lead, great. If you can't get the lead, then you know, you're probably going to lose the match. There are ways where you can win the match outright if you play it correctly, right? So let's think of this different scenario where now I don't have a balanced team, okay? Mainly because I know what my Pokemon is going to be weak to, my lead Pokemon, right? So if my lead is red, it's going to get beat out by blue. Okay, and what I have in my back coverage is I have two counters to my red's weakness. Yeah, green for sure is going to beat blue, as well as light green. It's going to beat blue. However, one of them is going to be a hard counter, and the other is going to be a soft counter. Okay, now what happens in this situation? I'm going to switch and throw in my soft counter, yeah, and I'm time locked. And then my opponent will switch out and throw in his counter, right? So red. Now this soft counter, okay, was supposed to be a soft counter for blue. In hindsight, it could sort of beat red, sort of, but what you want to do, most importantly, is try to win switch advantage. You want to beat this guy as best as you can, right? It's not going to lose outright. It's going to take some finessing. You're going to use some shields. And then, you know, once it dies, right, then you bring in red because you know red's going to beat your red, right? Like your opponent's red is now at half health, okay? They've used up some shields and they don't have enough life left to knock out your red, okay? And most likely, this switch timer is probably almost up, yeah? Like if you're battling for a good minute, like you're trying to now take this advantage, okay? So your opponent's gone, he comes in, switches, right? And then you're thinking, okay, now I gotta switch out. And because you saved your hard counter, right, your hard counter now comes back into play and can beat out your opponent's blue. Your opponent's going to switch, they bring in their green, you have energy advantage, you have maybe a shield advantage, right? You're going to beat out their green and then you take the match. Okay, so this is a very simple way to, like, you know, build a team, still have good coverage, as well as it's not so lead dependent. Okay, and what a lot of players like to do is, you know, they'll come up with their lead Pokemon and then have their back coverage cover its weaknesses, one for soft and one for a hard counter. Okay, so multiple counters, right? You always want to send out your soft counter, mainly because you're saving that hard counter for later, okay? And, you know, you got to decide like what's important, whether it's switch advantage or shield advantage, okay? And that usually just depends on what your opponent is doing, yeah? What they're switching out, what they're switching in, and all that stuff. Okay, so that's good. Here's like, you know, some different some different teams, right? Different possibilities. You can have a line that's going to be balanced, again, lead dependent. You have a team that's going to cover its weaknesses, okay? And then here's like this, what do you want to call it? Like this sandwich type lineup, right? You're going to lead green, and then in the back you're going to have red, and then like a soft green. It's this one, I would say, is also lead dependent. It's very dependent on like what your opponent's going to do, and it's this type of team is very tricky. Okay, and you maybe not you would definitely need to practice with this type of line. Okay, and then you also have like different lineups of like covering weaknesses, right? You for sure don't want to run this type of team where you have your lead and then you're not covering your weaknesses. Yeah, like your green's weakness is red and you're bringing in two reds into the field. Like that's not going to do it. So this again takes some time and takes some definitely some researching of like what's going to outright beat your lead, and then like what's going to hard counter it, what's going to soft counter it, and then you're bringing the appropriate counters yourself. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So questions? Are there any questions from the audience? I'll take some questions now. Oh, you missed what the colors meant? Okay. Yeah, it's very simple. Just think about what. I'm going to go back. Oh man, so many backs. Okay, the colors is just representing Charizard. Red is Charizard. Green is Venusaur. Blue is Blastoise. And so you'll have red or blue beats red, right? Red beats green, and then green beats blue. That's it. Okay. Ooh, discard. Any other questions? Is running a team with all soft counters viable? Okay. Running a team with all soft counters. Well, okay, you have to understand what soft counters are, right? Like what's a soft counter to what you're expecting, right? If like for example, Ultra League, Giratina is the top Pokemon. So, are you going to run a team that's going to be all soft counters to Giratina? That might not be viable because, there's other things that you're expecting, right, Jake? So it takes some practice and finessing, but I wouldn't recommend it. Not James Franco. Can you give examples of each composition? Like an Ultra League example? Or like an example here, right? Because here we have an example, right? Like whatever you want to pick as your lead, great. Like it's up to the user, up to you. Yeah. So if you're picking your lead, right, your lead will be the first Pokemon in this entry. The lead will be the first Pokemon in this column here, right? This column. Whatever you want, pick it as your lead. Whatever you feel comfortable with. This Pokemon again is going to set the tone of the match. If you want to be all spammy, if you want to be all tanky, this is the Pokemon that you want to pick, right? And then after that, you want to pick like things that are going to cover its weaknesses. Yeah, so you can have a balance line. Again, that's very lead dependent. You can have a line that will cover its weaknesses, soft and hard counters. You definitely maybe don't want to do this, but for sure, right? You don't want to do this part where you pick a lead and then you're not picking things to counter. Yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay. So, I was walking today and I want to try out a battle for everyone. So let's see if I can do this on stream. Okay. We're going to load up here and we're going to do an Ultra League battle. One battle, and I'll give you an example. Okay. Whew. I'm nervous. I've never battled on stream before. So here we go. Load up. Battle. Okay, let's do one set, or well, I'll do one battle and try and see if I can do this. Okay, Ultra League, and I'm gonna pick out my team. Okay, so Ultra League, go Battle League. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna start out with, where's my Giratina? Giratina, followed by Swampert and Registeel, right? Okay, because Giratina, its hard counters are Charmers, right? And Giratina itself. And so Swampert is going to be my soft counter for a Charmer, and then Registeel is going to be my hard counter for a Charmer, okay? So here we go. This is what I'm gonna do. Give me an opponent. Hopefully something. Okay, Oster. Also, my battle rating, terrible. Man, Ultra League is hard. All right, here we go. Okay, Melmetal. Not bad, right? Not bad at all. He's going to switch to Muck. I switch to Swampert because it's going to counter. Okay, Dark Pulse. Probably not going to shield. I'm going to let it go. Gunk Shot. Whew. Okay, here we go. Earthquake, Earthquake. Get the excellent. Knocks out the Alolan Muck. Perfect. My Giratina is now safe, right? He's going to come back in probably with Melmetal, but I want to see what his third Pokemon is. Lapras. Perfect. Okay. Hit the Earthquake. Come on, don't lag. Do not lag on me. Okay, hit the Earthquake. I'm going to let Lapras farm me down. Okay, Lapras has Ice Beam, so I'm not going to come back in with Giratina. I'm going to come back in with Registeel and force him to switch out. Come on. Okay, this is probably going to be a Surf or an Ice Beam, both of which are not going to do a lot of damage to Registeel, so I'm going to let it go. Switch. I'm switching. Okay, Melmetal, Thunderbolt, resisted. Rock Slide is going to do a lot of damage. Superpower, resisted. Rock Slide, okay. A lot of these moves that Giratina will have is going to be resisted by Melmetal, so I'm going to go for Ancient Power. Why? Because Ancient Power has a boost, and I want the boost. So here we go. Okay. At some point I'm going to start shielding, but not yet. I'm going to keep going. Okay. So I recognize that his Melmetal is going to win the CMP tie. Right? Okay, he's shielding. Oh boy. Oh, okay. So I wonder what he's doing, because he won the CMP tie last time. So let's see. No boost. Oh, I got the boost! Here we go! Alright, I'm gonna shield because I got the boost. Oh my god, boost on stream. That's crazy. Okay, here we go. He's gonna Surf, resisted. I'm gonna shield anyways. Comes another Surf. Should I do it? I'm not gonna do it. It's fine. It's gonna be resisted. Here we go. Go for the Ancient Power. Lapras is now gonna go down. Okay. Come on. Give me the boost. Lapras is shielding. Come on. Oh, gosh. Alright. It's okay. No worries. Okay. All moves resisted, or not going to do a lot of damage, right? So I'm just going to stay in, not shield, until his Melmetal comes back. Because then it's going to be a race to the next charge move. 1, 2. Alright, here we go. Should I just lock on? Okay. Surf. 1, 2. Oh, attack incoming. Okay. Shield. I don't know if it's superpower. Yep, it was superpower. Okay, so he's gonna lose a lot of health. Alright, I need energy for the Lapras, so I'm gonna knock out this Melmetal with Flash Cannon. Hopefully that's a knockout range. It is. Come back in. And then that's it. Okay, that's how it's done. So, James Franco, is this a red, dark, green, light green? Yep, it is. So, Giratina is my lead, right? And then I pick its I pick the counters, right? So, let's see. So that's Great League. Okay, so here's my Ultra League team. So I'll redo it here. So, Giratina, right? Swampert, and Registeel, right? So yeah, so Giratina is my lead, and then it's gonna get countered by fairy types, and so I'm gonna pick 2 counters to the fairies. One, Registeel, is going to be the hard counter, and then Swampert is going to be the soft counter, right? So this would be my red, light green, and then dark green. Yeah, so that's my team. Okay, cool. Any questions before I let you guys go? Good. All right. So I want to put it up to you guys. What would the next stream? What would the next topic would you guys like? Right. So put it in the chat. Put it under the comment box. Tweet it to me. And subscribe, like, and give me some suggestions, right, of what you guys would like the next topic to be. With this specific set, do you have a comp you auto lose to? What's a with that specific set? Let's see. There are times where I have lost with this team, and it's just because like the certain shield situations, right? Like I want to win that switch. Like when I switch into Swampert, or if I switch into Registeel, I want to win that switch. But the thing is, there are certain situations where I just can't win that switch, and so it just happens. There are times where if my opponent makes me switch out, right? Then like say for example, if they lead a Charmer and I switch to Swampert, then they're gonna come in with Venusaur and like knock me out, right? So there are times where I just can't win the switch, and I just fall behind. So it really just takes some finessing. Again, practicing with this team, right, is definitely key. Okay, cool. So again, I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. What the next topic is going to be, leave it in the comments. Leave it on my Twitter. Again, give me a like, give me a follow, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.